organic fluid intake. one moment, chat. Let me just pull up, yeah, I'm gonna pull up some music. And if you, let me see. I, what I can do right now, microphone is at 100. Is there any way I can grow it a little bit louder? No? Hmm, that's not good. Trying to see if there was a way to make my microphone a little bit louder. Uh, oh, I know how. There we go. Just a handful of audio pixels and not much. Just a little something. Let me also start up the original soundtrack here. Uh this was the uh hey. If you're not sure what's going on, we are going to be doing a little reading right now. I am quiet because City is asleep right now. She is taking a nap as she had woken up very early this morning, so I am trying to be very, very quiet. I'm sorry that if this is not such a rambunctious stream. I'm just trying to be polite. I wanted to do the stream earlier, but there was a fair few things I got trapped into. There was some things that I needed to take care of. I really don't want to talk about them because it is drama and I am not going I'm that's not the type of content I create. I do not like creating drama, even if it does get lots of views. But I am not here for that. I am here to entertain. Yeah, I am very fine. I am okay. That Jack knows it was an internal affair, but Jack knows. That's one of the reasons. And Jack knows the reason why I don't want to start stuff like that because it's neither here nor there. It is stuff that a lot of people who really don't understand put their dirty laundry out there because they don't get that this sort of thing is not something you talk about unless it goes open. Well, I'm not talking about it because it's not a situation that requires a lot of talking about. It, like I said, it if I were to talk about it, I'd be a gossiper, and I'm not about that. I'm not about talking about people behind their backs about things like that, and I'm not going to do that. Wait, this song is not. What is this song? This is not a good song for the energy I was going for. Here we go. Let me see. What's going on in chat? It was marginally annoying. Agreed. That's all I'm gonna say. It was marginally annoying. And I wanted to make sure with the things that were going on, people weren't going to be angry or basically doing things that they shouldn't be doing. But because things have kind of gone a little quiet on the front, I don't think it's that big a deal to talk about, because it's then if I start talking about it, then the people that are involved might get offended, both sides, and that is something I'm going to avoid. So we're going to just keep everything on the down low. Just know that as far as I'm concerned, I'm okay, and so long as everybody else is okay, everybody here feeling decent, that's all I care about. Okay, Singer, you take care. And thank you, Lovelace. I just don't want it. There's already enough drama. There's enough back and forth in the world. I don't want to perpetuate that. It's not what I'm here to do. There's so much negativity in the world. Why keep doing it? Why keep putting it out there? It's okay. I'm already offended and I hate you twice, maybe 3 times. Hate me twice? Is that because you would hate my clone? So, as I was stating earlier, we were reading this series. This is, oh wow, I'm having a massive stroke. Can't believe I would forget this. Targeted audience. I didn't even have to look, I just remembered. Hate me, baby, one more time. Okay. Love Axe. The lovely Axe. I love Axe. Axe body spray. Thanks, brain. That's a route I needed to go down in thought process. I started thinking about the Axe body spray commercials back in the day when teenage boys and like fitness models would put on the Axe body spray, and as soon as they put it on, women would literally just come flocking like a tidal wave of zombies, like the fast zombies, that just flying out of nowhere to like tackle this person down to the ground. And then I started thinking about a body spray that did that for MalOs, and I'm like, yes, thank you for that one, brain. I consider that imagery great because it's not like the internet needs something like that. Thank you very much. Piss body spray for the man who never has to ask. Love Axe sounds like a ship name. Now, what kind of ship? Are we talking about like a relationship or a Viking Nord ship? Huggies. Thank you for the huggies. Sorry, I was just trying a different song. In your language, a tugboat. No. Play the music. Relationship. I figured. I just wanted to be a smart MalO. Sm- Smart ass MalO. Well, I had expected orientation to shed some light on anomalous and perhaps reveal that cryptids were real. In truth, it was more akin to the world-shattering supernova. And one day I learned what practically everything I thought I knew was wrong, and that I had spent my whole life living inside of a sanitized bubble, protected from a much darker reality. I was told that I was fortunate to have stumbled upon such a benign anomaly as Vera, instead of the countless objects that prey upon humanity. However, my experience with her made me question the Foundation's narrative, and I couldn't help but wonder if I had some of the anomalies they had deemed to be dangerous were simply misunderstood. Take, for instance, the, another screaming monster. Even so, once we had learned just how many dangers lurked both outside and within the Foundation, Vera and I devised a number of contingency plans in the event that we had ever got in trouble or there was a containment breach. Given that she was able to teleport and neither of us had any intention of dying, it made sense to make those kinds of plans. Though the worst part about orientation were the other new hires who kept gossiping and remarking on Vera and I's relationship, which I found to be particularly upsetting and degrading given that the mere thought of a physical intimacy beyond hugging filled me with disgust. To the Foundation's credit, the new hires stopped once we informed our handlers of it. Hi, Ramon. It looks like I'm going to have to get some kind of like kickbot started. That's most unfortunate. I don't know, some of you might not see it because you're not on Kick, but the second person to ever message on my Kick stream is some kind of scammer. Sorry, bud, not falling for it. There we go. Oof. Yeah. If you were curious, the message reads as follows. Hey, I like your stream. I've not heard that one a million times. I've been helping some streamers connect with communities and improve engagement. If you ever want a few ideas to grow, I'm happy to share. To add me on Discord. I'm definitely not going to steal your Discord identity or anything like that. No. Or try to make you buy something or give me your credit card information or nothing like that. Definitely not. Brother, I've heard these songs and dances so many times. So many times. Little did you know I already have a fan base on Twitch, and I only started doing Kick because I'm trying to reach a bigger audience. And I've been all over the place today, just starting dinner now. Nom nom. Wow, it's pretty late for you to be starting dinner. Also, when it comes to the Foundation, I'm not surprised that they were able to literally cut everything instantly. Having finished orientation, when they proceeded to the Advanced Researcher Induction and Training Program, which was essentially like a 6-month-long accelerated college program for geniuses, and was accompanied with a lot of different tests. However, while I was able to go through them without any issue, Vera ended up struggling with the ethics course, and our handler seemed deeply concerned by some of her test results. At first, I chalked it up to her being an anomaly and her affable nature conflicting too much with the Foundation's very strict code of ethics. Holden. This song is too much. Sorry. When I hear the word handler, I think of furry fandom vlogs. Oh god, no. Why would you think that? So long as they're chill. Chill tunes. You could give me more bug music if you wanted. I'm just listening to the original soundtrack from Starbound. Where was I? At first, but when they started asking me about her having displayed manipulative or antisocial tendencies in the past, I became both concerned and a little confused. Yes, she had always been a little manipulative, but she had always had a good reason for it. It wasn't like she was a sociopath or anything. This is the I almost want to say that this might be the Foundation's way of trying to manipulate Huey. Given the Vera didn't sleep, she was able to arrange for herself to work as a research assistant during the graveyard shift. While the people she worked with would frequently complain about her lack of boundaries and overly friendly demeanor, they nevertheless commended Vera for her willingness to take initiative whenever opportunities arose, noting that clever use of her abilities allowed them to make great progress and to save Class D personnel from suffering potential injuries or death. There she is. I'm just looking at the windows. I'm curious. Is it me? Oh, that's her. I see her reflection. They're both their reflections in the glass, but it feels like this is a Silent Hill-esque area. Could just be foggy and at night, but it really looks sinister in the background. Hello, Jacob. Oh, you were just lazy. I was like, interesting background. I am curious. Let me check out what's going on in the background. Don't mind me, I'm just combing over the image to see if there was anything of interest. Not particularly. The reflections on the glass are very much a nice touch, and I like that. Once we finished the advanced research induction and training program, we became full researchers and were transferred to Site 19, where I was assigned to the Department of Esoteric Physics and Vera to the Department of Science as a heavy hitter of sorts due to her anomalous capabilities, ability to learn quickly, and their aptitude for thinking on her feet. In practice, it meant that I would be doing similar kind of work as I had in Harvard, aside from teaching. Vera, on the other hand, would be assigned to various projects that would benefit from her special touch, and so, much to her delight, she would end up conducting numerous experiments and more practical research. Hold up, I see chat is alive. Interesting. A chat connected to both Twitch and YouTube? How did that happen? Is that a real program in one of the two apps? I have capabilities. I've learned how to be able to manifest myself in multiple locations. Not just YouTube and Twitch, but I'm also manifested in Kick as well. I am spreading my influence. Some fursuits have closed eyes or sleepy, nearly closing eyes, lids, shape, and covering. Color me impressed with how good some of um the fursuit community has gotten. Like, it's a far cry from the younger days of fursuits. They can almost make they can make it so the ears move, tail move. They add electronics to said things so it looks like they're alive, devices and such. It's very interesting. Eyelids moving. Impressive, not most impressive. Huh. Well, that didn't work out the way I thought it was going to work out for my chat program. Asians, furry suitors are different in a good way. That being said, their suits are more or less about the suits themselves and just more about the heads and the hands. To 682. What to what philosophy is there? Uh oh. It's gonna be difficult to do multiple songs in a row if it's just one song per thing. Well, that's because their furries actually wear clothes. Wow, what's that? Well, it's more slimming the whole thing down. Kimono suits have huge anime style eyes. I've seen Japanese ones where they're just full body as well. Where's that music? I see video. I see songs supposedly playing. Is it just because the music video just take forever to get through? Yeah, we're not. This isn't gonna work if we're gonna have to. I mean, the song's good now. Took a while. Like Druid or Native American. Yeah, it's Native American. Yeah, it's okay, Jack. It's just hard for me to do individual songs. That's why I usually have a playlist play on this for this stuff. Let's see. You're not helping any. You got the door open. You can go in. Stop screaming at me. It's like, push the door open more. It's like you push the door open yourself. I don't you obviously you showed that you don't need any help. Cats. Being reckless and okay, professional. Okay, however, very quickly headache. However, Vera quickly became quite a headache for the Foundation. She completely disregarded the ethical guidelines, stipulating that researchers maintain a professional distance from D-class personnel and anomalies, and instead treated them like friends. That's the reason why they the Foundation was not happy about Vera, because Vera is more ethical than most of the researchers. That she treats them like humans than items. Additionally, while conducting experiments, she kept taking big risks in ways that management deemed to be reckless and extempor. Ooh, that's a word. Extemporaneous. Extemporaneous. Extemporaneous.
Extemporaneous.
Extemporaneous. That is a new word. I've not heard this word before. Extemporaneous. 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 Let me pull up chat once again. Extemporaneous. As a result, she received countless reprimands and got called to disciplinary hearings on multiple occasions. Expelliarmus. Even so, she seemed to be able to remain in the Foundation's good graces by demonstrating that her every action was carefully calculated, and by the fact that she consistently achieved exceptional results in addition to having a work ethic that few could rival. Of course, she had the benefit of not being able to sleep or experience monotony, so working 2 full shifts every single day while also furthering her education during her free time, it wasn't exactly challenging for her. On the contrary, she loved it more than anything. I sippy on the floor. As much as I missed working at Harvard, seeing Vera finally having a fulfilling career without having to hide what she was made it all worth it. 2 months had passed since we became full researchers, and after a long day of work, Vera and I retreated to our quarters where we enjoyed our nice pasta carbonara dinner. "So how was your day?" asked Vera as she opened the bottle of Graco de Tufo. I don't know if that's how you properly pronounce it, but we'll go with that. "Yeah, it was pretty good," I muttered while putting a generous serving of carbonara. No, I know how to pronounce this word. Carbonara. Animals think they're bigger than they are when making large motions. "Oh, hey. John, take me home. John, take me with you." I didn't pick this, by the way. I like this song a lot. Carbonara, I think. That's how you properly pronounce it. Better pour yourself. Okay, hold on. No, Jack, this is what you sent me. Jack, I don't think you realized you sent me a playlist. You sent me a playlist. It just kept on playing after this song. And autoplay is not on. Not my intentions, lol. Oh, so how was your day? Yeah, it was pretty good, I muttered, generous serving a carbonara on her plate. "We've had a major breakthrough. Turns out that we can use the anomaly as a 0-point energy generator without having to worry about triggering a false vacuum decay." Farah poured herself a glass and then did the same for me. "See, I told you it would work out." Of course, the Foundation would first have to develop a kind of technology to actually utilize the anomaly in the first place. But that's not likely to happen this century, I explained as I got myself a serving of carbonara. Back at Harvard, I would have been absolutely ecstatic to be doing this kind of research, but here I just felt empty. The Foundation focus on containing anomalies took the joy out of science for me, and while our work was ostensibly, Istensible. Intens in Istensible.
Ostensibly.
Instansibly. Ah, that's how you do it. Instansibly. Ostensibly. Ostensibly. I have to repeat it in order to try and get it through my head. Ostensibly. Basically, allegedly. Ostensibly. While our work was ostensibly for the benefit of mankind, I couldn't help but feel like it was for the sole benefit of the Foundation itself. Stop stroking. What do you mean? Did my hand glitch out again? But then I looked at Vera and saw how happy she looked. It was quite obvious that she couldn't wait to tell me about her work with her usual infectious enthusiasm. It was an important reminder that I had made the right choice in coming here with her. How was your day? I asked, putting on a smile. Super exciting, actually, Vera began with her typical enthusiasm. I was assigned to work on this new anomaly that's super deadly, like tear you apart from limb by limb type deadly. Oh, it's Pine Grove? Huh. Not what I was looking for. I think it's because these are under radio. So these are technically under a playlist. Your brain did. Oh, my brain did? Okay, I see what you mean. So all of them, all of the creature, all of the monsters. I had yet to get used to how blasé. I feel like I've heard that word before. That's French.
Blasé.
Yeah, I was right. Blasé. Blasé. Let's see, where was I? Blasé. She was about handling some of the most dangerous creatures and objects in the world, but I was happy that she had found her calling. Hi, Cypher. Oh, we. No, I'm not allowed to tell you the details, but I will say that figuring out exactly how she and why it does that, what it does, turned out to be quite the pickle. She continued, and then took a sip of wine. But I was able to do thanks to Bob, Freddy, and Jamal. I nodded along as I ate a couple of bites of carbonara. Those three were her favorite Class D staff members to use in her experiments. She knew everything about them and made it a habit to bring them news about their families. She seemed particularly fond of Jamal, who had only gotten here due to being framed for murder. I scared my cat. Blasé, overly casual. Uh-huh. I thought I heard that terminology before somewhere. How are you doing, Cypher? Oh no. They all died quite terribly, Vera said as if she meant absolutely nothing to her when she raised a finger and excitedly prattled on, but I got a lot of use out of them, which is what allowed me to figure out just how this thing ticks, she said out of delight. I wish I could tell you more. It's just so fascinating. Vera? That was... I see. I understand now. Quite understanded. That I see the sociopathic tendencies now. Very not human. I'm thinking. No. I would have to say that would be incorrect. first I was thinking I was contemplating that might be canine in nature, but I am incorrect because that is more feline of nature, not canine. Canines can remember their loved counterparts for years and still come back to one if they care about one so much. They will like, I've seen canines who will go back to the same spot for years waiting for the person they care about the most. So I was contemplating whether this was of canine nature or not, and I cannot say that is. So I would say this is a problem of Vera, or Dr. Lovelace in this case, basically having no regard for the human life due to the fact that she still does not understand the permanence of death. She has not. It is most definitely not. That's what I'm starting to contemplate. Especially since it was pointed out very early when she was first still in development. It's kind of like a Chekhov's gun situation where Vera was mentioned what is death, and Huey could not talk about it because it was too emotional at the time. But due to the fact that Vera never really learned about death, even through all the scientific conundrums, it almost seems like Huey never really took on the concept of death to Vera with the correct degree of explanation. Don't mind me, I'm dissecting Lovelace right now on a mental and emotional scale. It's one of my special capabilities. Very. Not exactly. You'll find out more as you read on. Oh, I have other theories. That was just my first theory and concept of mental puzzling. On par, the Foundation is unforgiving to D-class personnel, but still Vera, oh my. Yeah, it's one thing to the Foundation if with the D-class to dehumanize them, but it's a whole nother thing to humanize them, talk to them, treat them like people, and then just casually throw them away in a horrible experiment gone wrong that ended up killing all three of them. It very much makes me worry about her. Because she seems to only... If I were to put another theory out, she only cares about one person in particular. Truly cares about him. And that would be Huey. But there's also the possibility that she's doing the same thing to Huey that she did to those D-class personnel. What do you want about, Jack? That was the first theory I was thinking of. I was thinking about that, and I was wondering, contemplating that, mulling that one over my head. Then I went to the other theory due to the fact that maybe she's just, maybe it was the death thing. Maybe it was the whole Chekhov's gun talking about death and her not understanding death quite so well due to the fact that nobody ever really talked to her about death. And all she's ever talked about is science and learning and understanding the world around her. But she never like sat down to really discuss on an emotional level what death means to human beings and to living creatures. But then I also thought, well, maybe it's more simplistic. Maybe it is just she only cares about one person and one person only due to her what's the word? Coding. Because that's what a MalO is about. The MalO is meant to keep one person and one person only from feeling alone. That's the reason why nobody else can usually see a MalO, is due to that reason. So I think that's just part of her nature, to from the way she came to be. Yep, she's imprinted on that guy, exactly. And though she cares in some shape or way about the other personnel, she does, but when they're gone, it's the reason why she doesn't care is due to the fact that she doesn't fully commit to them. They're like a pet to her. No. Hold on, I gotta bring chat back. Toasty cookie. Oh. That's one of my favorite things to do, and one of my things that I think about a lot is why things and people do the things that they do. And it's one of the things I think about a lot. Sneaky cookie. Not the sneaky cookie. I stared at her, absolutely appalled. Vera, I thought those three were your friends. Oh, they were, she agreed as if everything was just fine and dandy. Then took a bite of carbonara. I keep second guessing myself. I need to stop doing that. In fact, carbonara. Yep, carbonara. I had to do it. I had to check. Then how are you able to be so utterly unbothered with them dying during your experiments? I asked. Because, silly, they're Class Ds. That's literally what they're for, she replied with a giggle. Besides, I got to make them a part of my work, so in a way I got to have a part of them with me forever now. I dropped my fork with a clang. What? Vera, you're not making any sense. She seemed confused. What doesn't make sense? The way you're acting right now, I shouted. Why are you so happy about this? Because, duh, I made a major breakthrough, she said, as if that would have been obvious. And I got to use my friends to do it. And why is that such a good thing? I demanded. Which part? The second one. Because I like doing the discussion science with my friends. Discussing science with my friends. Excuse me. Because I like doing And discussing science with my friends, she replied as she regarded me with the great fondness, her eyelids raised in a smile. I was absolutely horrified. What are you saying? That you do the same to me? No, no, of course not, silly, she replied with a chuckle. As I said before, they're Glass D. They're meant to be used for experiments. And what if I somehow fell out of the Foundation's good graces and they demoted me to Class D? Would you use me like that then? Oh, of course not, Huey, she cooed as she reached out to take my hand, squeezing it affectionately. You're my partner. I love you. I want to keep you around for as long as possible. Hmm. I want to keep you around for as long as possible. Indeed. Cold. Even that statement is just cold. Not forever. For as long as possible. Meaning, she wants him around for as long as possible because they're partners. However, it sounds like she's already kind of accepted the fact that he will not be around forever. Yes, very sus. Putting an expiration date on their relationship already. Yeah, don't like that any. Hold my hand away from her. Keep me around? What the hell is that supposed to mean? Duh, that I want to keep you around, she replied as if she had been so obvious. What's the matter, Huey? Why are you so upset? Why am I upset? I shouted. You're acting like all giddy even though you're supposed to be friends. You're acting all giddy even though your supposed friends were killed in your experiments. And now you're talking about them as if they were objects. She seemed confused. No, I'm not. Yes, you are! Vera, why are you acting like this? I'm acting like I usually do? No, you're not. You've never talked about people like this before. I've never had friends die under me before. Felt an inkling of hope upon hearing that. Hope that she wasn't just having an odd reaction to her experiencing loss. So, is this your way of grieving? Vera blinked. I don't know what grief feels like. It's like a profound kind of sadness, I explained. I don't know what it feels like to be sad either, she replied. Besides, I'm feeling happy and super fulfilled, which I'm pretty sure is the opposite of sadness, though I'm a bit worried about your reaction to what should be good news. Any hope that lingered was instantly snuffed out. And as I desperately tried to figure out what was wrong with her, it occurred to me that I had never seen or experienced any negative emotions, and that she had always been exceptionally good at getting her way. I swallowed and then asked, Vera, could you explain why you're happy to sacrifice some of your friends for the research, but not me? Because I love you, silly. Right, but explain that love to me and tell me how it differs from the way you feel about your D-class friends. Vera thought for a moment and picked up her glass of wine and said, People are like different wines. Some are happy to finish without really thinking about it, and others you prefer to savor for as long as possible. I stared at horror. I stared at her in horror, feeling betrayed and more than a little disgusted. So we're just something for you to consume? What? No, that's... She paused to think. Well, I suppose that is kind of
He's a little sad right now.
Oh, fucking pathetic is more like it. MalO, can I sip you slowly? I'll take that bottle and shove it into your ear. I'll make your head feel funny. Talk about having alcohol in the brain. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. I suppose that is a kind of an apt, if but simplistic way to look at it. I was completely taken aback by that. My accusation had been extreme, out of anger, and I had not expected it to be actually correct. It's not... Okay, hold on, it's her, okay. It's not like I'm literally eating you or hurting you at all, she noted. It's kind of like the way plants sustain themselves off the light of the sun. So it's not as bad as you might think. Not as bad? I just found out that the person I love most, who I've spent 12 years with, just sees me as something to fulfill her wants and needs, as if I'm nothing more than a means to an end, I said. Another word would be, I growled, maybe? I huffed? Whoa, me next? Good point. All these years, I've done everything I could to make you happy and give you what you want, and now I can't help but wonder if I did it of my own free will, or if you manipulated me into doing it. Oh, it was both. I got out of my seat. Oh, I could just... I'm imagining Huey just literally, like, getting up angry enough that the chair flies backwards. That might even be something you could put into that bit, would be like, I flew out of my seat so quickly the chair flew several inches back. That would really hit home just how hard that would be, how hard that hits. Shut up, Jack. It's like the funny truth gaffes from that one episode of Hell of a Boss. Lived experiences are important data. Well, now you're starting to sound like a researcher. Come now, Huey, don't be such a party pooper, Vera said, trying to calm me down. You just spent like an hour cooking, and you know pasta carbonara. It's only good when it's fresh, so let's eat it while it's warm and continue this conversation afterwards. I'm not hungry anymore, I replied as I made my way towards the door. Huey, stop! She teleported behind me and pulled me into a hug. I know you're upset. You're looking at this all wrong, she said, trying to calm me down. Now we really see what this all is about. Even if we don't feel the exact same for each other, doesn't mean I don't love you. I do. I really, really do. No, you don't, Vera. Whatever you feel towards me, it isn't love, I replied. Now let me go. I don't want to see you right now. Without another word, she let me go, and I proceeded to leave our quarters and walk along the dormitory halls. I walked and I walked till I reached a public restroom. I entered one of the stalls, locked the door, and then sat on top of the toilet while clutching my head. If I could cry, I would have. I would have cried an entire ocean. For 12 years I had loved Vera and been terrified of losing her, only to find out that I never had her to begin with. She had been manipulating me from the very beginning to give her everything she wanted. I had given up everything for her, my life, my career. also I could be here with her, to work for an organization that I couldn't care less about. Now I was stuck here. But the worst thing of all by far was that despite the revelation, despite her seeing me as something to a cultivate or a feed off of, I still loved her. Counting people as a way to have photosynthesis. I want to commend that this little secret of hers was actually very hard to see due to the fact that she wasn't around other people. She was only around Huey. So this was hiding in plain sight. And it is almost like a warning, isn't it? It is similar to a warning. If that's I would love this. I want to say that this is actually really well written horror. Horror of a different perspective of horror, but horror nonetheless. This isn't a horror about some giant monster that eats people. It is not about some old man who can walk through walls and loves to torture people. This isn't some kind of mind-altering creature that or entity or item that forever wipes your mind. This is the horror of finding out somebody that you cared about was never truly there to begin with. The person that you thought you knew, the person that you thought was there, was just a fantasy, a hallucination, a mirage. And it's not like she was trying to hide it. She never hid it. She never had to. It was always there, hidden in plain sight. It's not just misbegotten love. It's the horror of never truly understanding the people that you know. People talk about that all the time when it comes to like murder cases or stuff like that, that a lot of people go, oh, well, this person was way amazing. Like, I never thought this person could do something like this. This is in that same ballpark. She only told him once she has no longer depended on him. When people look at Lovelace, they see what they want to see. I saw her as sweet and good-natured at first. Because it wasn't, none of that, the issues were there. However, something always sat in the back of my mind. Something was always there when reading these chapters. Something like an alarm, a red flag. Something wasn't right, and I could tell something wasn't right. And I couldn't quite put my claw on it. But I knew something wasn't adding up. It could have been because, in all honesty, one of the things that I thought of, especially when Huey went to, when Huey basically was trying to convince Vera not to go and not to join this group, he had a bad feeling about this group. You know, bad feeling about the Foundation. That was one of the that clued me in. Another thing that clued me in about something was wrong was the fact that Vera never seemed to concern herself for Huey's safety. You noticed that? I noticed that. There was always something about that. I thought it was off, too. About how Huey always seemed to be on the right end of what he was saying. Like, I could definitely... What Huey was saying was basically correct. Also, thank you for the biddies, by the way, Jack. What he was talking about with how you couldn't trust a Foundation like that, because he knew that the Foundation were probably the ones that made the college student that it was under him disappear. You know? He knew that they were probably the ones involved. But yet here he was, listening to Vera, even though Vera, not once did she say something like, yeah, don't worry. It'll be all right with, your safety is fine. We'll keep you safe. I'll keep you safe. She was only concerned about herself, if you notice. The entire time, she spoke about, well, I'm in a cage. Well, I'm this. I'm that. And you go along with it. You go along with it due to the fact that she was right. She is in a cage. She can't be free. But little did we know that there was ulterior motives to this whole situation. But like I said, something always went off. Some kind of alarm went off in my head due to the fact that something didn't seem right. Not only that, but on a story perspective, when we got to the SCP Foundation by chapter 10 or 11, by 10, and there was still 4 more chapters ahead, I knew there was something up. The story was continuing, that it was going to keep going, you know what I mean? Let's see. Did I ban you? No. Ban. And banned. Oh, since I'm banning you funny little bots.
This sure is a lot more gaudy than I was expecting.
Get fucked. That was also another thing that kind of alerted me to that not everything was going to be sunshine and flowers. I knew, not you, Jack. In Kick, we just had another bot come in and Kick. But when I saw how much time was left, how much chapterage was left, I'm like, that's not a good sign. That means that we haven't hit the epilogue yet. We not only that, we haven't hit the climax of the story yet. If the climax of the story isn't getting into the Foundation and getting in there without like getting destroyed by the Foundation or whatever, then that means that there's something worse ahead. I thought that monster girls were better because the monster's on the outside and not on the inside like regular women. Ha ha, shut up, Jack. Need any help? Okay. Make me, you woofer. Don't make me come over there, young man. People getting to know Lovelace be like, ah, a monster. Oh, wait, you're actually nice. Oh, no, you're horrible. Oh, no, wait, you are a monster. Unfortunately, she's a monster of... She's a monster without even realizing she's a monster. That's the problem. Lovelace is a victim of sociopathic tendencies. Not so much the idea of, yes, she knows what she is doing is evil. To her, the concept of humanity and whatnot, this is basically a mental disorder. Man, I can't see those links right now. Due to the fact that I have those. I tried something else so that I could put all links into one thing so they'd be a little bit easier to see and read. But unfortunately, it's not working the way I thought it was going to work. Let's see here. Hi, Dr. Singer. And Dr. Singer, you may have missed an entirely big chapter there. The coolest thing is that I would say that the bit about this whole bit about her being a sociopath was so well hidden in plain sight that I commend you, Dr. Lovelace, for basically writing that, because that was very well hidden. Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking too. And I meant to say that, but I kind of missed the point. Well, no, I didn't miss the point. I digressed off the point. But the whole idea that she is alien, in a way, that she is alienated to the thought of humanity, that she is not human. She is thoroughly alien, an alien being operating under the equally alien morality. She doesn't understand because she is not human. You're welcome, Lovelace. So all that buildup, all that time invested with these two. And I'm not familiar, I was a bit unfamiliar with it, but at the same time, people who probably specialize in the mental disorders probably would have picked up Vera's sociopathic tendencies a lot sooner than a normal reader like me. But they were so subtle. Again, I must say, they were very hard to pick up instantly. And only people with that kind of degree of that knowledge would know what to look for. For most everyone else, we would not see that those subtle things, those subtle changes, those subtle movements. But now that we know and understand going back through the story and looking back to how everything came to be, it makes a lot more sense, doesn't it? Every action that Vera took, everything she talked about, everything she wanted, it all makes sense. Over the course of the next few days, Vera kept alternating between giving me space and showering me with affection, and every time I ignored and pushed her away. Wanting to work for the Foundation. Well, she didn't really necessarily want to work for the Foundation right away. Like, she didn't know it was the Foundation. She just saw an opportunity to get out of her little cage and do what she wanted. And the Foundation gave her an offer that really, really made her want to get out and do that. By the time they realized that it was like Huey was right. Huey was right the entire time about wanting the run and get out of that situation, because you don't want to work for the Foundation. Over the course of the next few days, Vera kept alternating between giving me space and showering me with affection, and every time I ignored and pushed her away. That tactic of hers may have worked on me before, but I knew better than that to fall for it now. It also doesn't help that Huey saw his sister in her. Like, he saw her in her, and that helped to rose tint a lot of the red flags in their daily life. Okay, Dr. Singer, sorry. Exactly. Rose-tinted glasses always end up covering red flags. While a part of me wanted nothing more to do with her, I found myself unable to let her go, and I deeply longed for things to go back to the way they had been before. But I couldn't get over the feeling being so used and betrayed. In desperation, I turned to the supplementary material on SCP-1471-A, Vera's species. While the information on their psychology was relatively sparse, I did find some things that helped me understand her more. Apparently, they fed off the interactions of any and all kinds of... Stinker. I will send tiny little drones to spray you with water every time you try to get on that computer. They had the world. Hold on. Sorry. Where was I? They had with their world around them. They would start feeding off the interactions they had with the world around them. Be it by interacting with beings aside from their hosts, or the way physics interact with their materialized forms. They would also develop strong preferences in the kinds of interactions they fed upon. Many became tricksters. Others became social butterflies. And some became even more fixated on their human hosts. Interesting that these logs are here, for they aren't normally something you can get a hold of. In Vera's case, she appeared to primarily feed off her scientific endeavors and from friendly interactions with others. While this might not have been an issue in and of itself, her kind's morality was, at best, only semi-analogous. I am an adult, I think. Maybe.
Analogous.
Equivalent or certain aspects, even if otherwise different. comparable, analogous, or only semi-analogous to ours. As such, from what I know and understood about her, she was akin to a sociopathic capable of experiencing selective empathy who cultivated human relationships the way a farmer cultivated fruit-bearing plants. Her caring about others was purely incidental in getting what she wanted from them. Or that was what I kept telling myself. The truth was that no matter how much I tried justifying my feelings of anger and betrayal towards her, I couldn't get myself to hate her, and I certainly couldn't stop loving her. I didn't know what to do. It felt just as impossible to end things with Vera as it was to reconcile with her, and so I just kept avoiding her and pushing her away. The problem is, she has basically gotten too deep into his mind. Similar? Because that's a word that I don't think gets used very often. You must remember that in the English way of speaking, a lot of terminologies like, analogous, analogous, terms like this get phased out. They don't get used any longer. So those don't become words in the repertoire of the everyday. Also, you must keep in mind that the narrator is a Harvard professor. Exactly. If the narrator is a Harvard professor, they're going to be using a lot more complicated and underused words. Big word. Very big word. Okay, we go to the next one. Today had been a fairly typical day. I had gone to my office, responded to emails, gone to a meeting, conducted research, written reports, gone to lunch, and then returned to my office to continue my research. I see what you did there. I see what you did there. So, what you just did, and I know how you did, because a lot of times in Jack, and a lot of times in countries that aren't native English speakers, a lot of those other countries like Sweden, Italy, Japan, when they teach English, they teach older, more sophisticated words. It happens a lot. In America does the same thing. When America teaches another language, they teach the more old style of speaking. They don't update the tech of the words, not the ones that are currently being usually used by the society of that time, right on that day and age. They use textbooks that are usually 5 to 10 years old. So a lot of the words end up getting into outside America or England's vocabulary. Also, yes, I did notice. I noticed what you did there. When I was thinking to myself personally, I was thinking about the way this sentence structure worked, because it almost feels like a run-on sentence. So when I first saw this, with this sentence style before, the first few chapters before Vera was introduced, it was just basically Huey going about his day. It was just Huey just kind of, I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this. Kind of just going through the motions. No life left inside of him. And then Vera comes along, and then life gets a lot more bright and vibrant. But then when he finds out that Vera literally for the last 12 years has been a monster in wolf in sheep's clothing, as it were, for a funny pun, he's gone back to the old way of thinking. The old way of just going through the day. You're 5 to 10 years old. Yep, he's on autopilot again. Then suddenly a loud siren began to blare, accompanied by flashing of emergency lights. Uh-oh. This is a code super blue magenta emergency. All non-security personnel are to evacuate immediately. It's a containment breach. The automated announcement system called out. Gripped by panic, I was unsure what to do. What was I supposed to do was follow the evacuation plan I had given and make my way to the nearest shelter. However, back then, Vera and I first joined the Foundation. We had agreed that she would come get me in the event of an emergency such as this. Despite how rocky our relationship now I trusted that she would remain true to her word. And so I hid under my desk and waited for her. But she didn't come. And the longer I waited, the more afraid I was to leave. After all, the more time passed, the more dangerous the breach could become. And if I left, Vera would have no idea where I was. Thus, I continued to wait for what felt like an eternity. Constant rhythm and the alarm occasionally being interrupted by sounds of screams and gunfire. I hugged my knees to my chest and shut my eyes, trying desperately to block out all the noise as my thoughts raced. Where was she? She was supposed to come get me. Did she drop the pretense of caring about me? Or was this her way to punishing me for her pushing her away? Did something happen to her? Push that thought out of my head. Vera's particular set of anomalous qualities and abilities made her almost unkillable, so there was no way she wasn't fine, right? Then, as quickly as it begun, the alarm went silent and the emergency lights stopped blinking. Lockdown has been lifted. All personnel not in need of medical attention are to return to their stations. The automated announcement system called out. I'm sorry. I'm not sure when you left Soul Reap, but it's, I'm not sure. I don't know how much you've missed, but there was a lot going on. I got out from under my desk and looked around. However, the relief I felt was quickly replaced with anger. Why didn't Vera come get me? This is the life and death situation. Did she just abandon me to fend for myself? Shaking my head, I decided that the next day we saw each other, I would have some choice words for her. But for now, I needed to get back to work. Yeah, you might have missed the biggest lore drop. I spent the next half an hour working on my report. I had just finished it when there was a knock at my door. Oh yeah, okay, so you missed a lot, Soul. You missed the twist. You literally missed the biggest twist of it all. The whole accumulation of the story. It's okay, Soul Reap. That seemed to be really bad timing. You might have to go re-watch the stream. You might have to go back a bit and rewatch the stream because we had a deep discussion about Vera's personality after that. Nah, bruh, we can't listen to this. Timberhearth is great and all, but there ain't no time for Timberhearth. Do you want to give me? Do you want me to say what happened, Soul? Because I will tell you. Well, I'm not sure how much you're going to understand the rest of the story if I don't tell you. Yeah, I would suggest going back and rewatching it because it hits heavy. Yeah, go ahead and do that. You could probably skip a lot of the stuff that I talk about because I sit here and contemplate and mull over the story quite a bit and whatnot while that's going on. So you could probably skip a lot of my silent bits and you could probably get caught up fairly quickly. I got from under my desk, looked around. However, the relief I felt was quickly replaced with anger. Why didn't Vera come get me? This was a life and death situation. She had just abandoned me to fend for myself. I know I read this already. Shaking my head, I decided the next time we saw each other, I would have some choice words for her. But for now, I needed to get back to work. After stream, I think the story is going to get very confusing for you then for the rest of these like next 2 chapters. You can rewatch the stream now because Twitch does that. You can go back in Twitch's like Twitch's live stream. You can like rewind it now. I spent the next half an hour working on my report. I had just about finished it when there was a knock at my door. Got out of my seat, strode over to the door, and when I opened it, I was met with a tall, slender man in his mid-40s with a very serious expression on his face. Judging by his suit, he was from administration. Dr. Huey Bertram? That's me, I replied. What do you want? Took a deep breath. It's about Vera. I rubbed the bridge of my nose. What did she do now? She was at ground zero during the breach. He explained, his voice too calm and practiced for what came next. She didn't make it. At first I thought he stopped talking mid-sentence. Didn't make it? What do you mean? He looked at me as if he was considering how to phrase what he was about to say. Finally, he said, "She's dead. I'm sorry." I just stared at him as numbness came over me. I shook my head and said, No, she can't die. Maybe not normally, but she was up against a powerful reality warper," he explained. "Once it got a hold of her and forced her into a materialized state, she didn't stand a chance." Felt as if all of the air had been pulled out of the room. My ears buzzed as I stared at his mouth, which kept moving, but I couldn't make out what it was saying. Closed the door before he could finish and locked it, hoping that I could just block out what I wouldn't have block out then, and it wouldn't have happened. It then occurred to me that I might have fallen asleep under my desk and that all of this was just a really bad dream. And so I crawled back from under my desk, hugged my knees to my chest. Wait, no. And so I crawled back under my desk, hugged my knees to my chest, closed my eyes, and then waited to wake up. But I couldn't wake up. Why couldn't I wake up? Few people understand true loneliness. After I lost Haley, I mean, I don't know if she's dead or not. I'm not quite certain if that's how this happened. But if she did end up dying due to this, would her SCP thing would be neutralized? Wouldn't it? Her thing? After I lost Haley, I became... Hold on. Yeah, that's what I thought. She would be neutralized. She is not neutralized. Nope, never mind. There it is. Wait. Nope, that's not her. That's a different example. Who is that?
Access denied.
Project Nexus 0. Dr. Vera Lovelace. Risk class critical. Disruption class Amida. Containment class uncontained. Secondary class Apollyon. She is not neutralized. Yeah. So that means she's still alive as far as I know. Unless the SCP Foundation has not has not fixed the thing, and that's not a spoiler so much as unfortunately it's just the name of the game. I remember seeing her SCP file and being like, wait, if she was dead, she'd be neutralized. Hold on, I'm going to roll back the song. After I lost Haley, I became intimately familiar with just how soul-crushing loneliness could be. I was sure I would die alone, just an empty husk of a man. Then I met Vera, and I wasn't alone anymore. And then I foolishly pushed her away, and now I had lost her too. And so here I was, alone on my orders, refusing to see anyone. Our co-workers wanted to offer condolences, but what was that even good for? Vera was dead, and no kind words would change that or make me feel better. Hell, it would have just made me feel worse. After all, despite her accomplishments, Vera had been a major headache for the Foundation. Firstly, for being an anomaly that they couldn't forcibly contain, and secondly, for blatantly disregarding their precious rules and protocols. For all I knew, the Foundation had assigned her to handle dangerous anomalies precisely because they wanted her to die. Die. I wasn't surprised. It wouldn't surprise me if some of them were celebrating her being decommissioned at this very moment. I buried my face in my hands. If only she had listened to me. If only she could have been content with her life before the Foundation. And if only I hadn't pushed her away. Yes, she may not have loved me the way I loved her, but she did care about me in her own way. And that should have been enough. Why couldn't that have been enough for me? What was I supposed to do now? I didn't care about the Foundation and its mission. I certainly didn't want to work for people who had gotten her killed. But I knew that if I quit, they would amnesticize me. They'd make me forget about Vera, taking away the only thing I had left of her. Looked over at the knife holder at the sat on the kitchen counter. I wasn't going to work for these people, but I sure as hell wasn't going to give them a chance to amnesticize me either. But for now, I grieved and reminisced about the life Vera and I had shared. Its humble beginnings, all of its ups and downs, and the way it had crumbled at the end. Oh, how I wish that I could have taken back those last few days. Yes, she had been manipulative, driven by selfish desires, but she had been so good to me in ways that no one else had ever had. Not even Haley. And it wasn't like I had been driven by selfish desire, and it wasn't like I hadn't been driven by selfish desires too. After all, isn't the need for companionship fundamentally selfish when you really think about it? Vera had filled my needs to the brim. I had done the same for her, or at least in part. She did crave so much more than I could give, after all, but she had never made me feel like I wasn't enough for her. She wanted me at her side, even as we left our comfortable gilded cage. If only I could have been there before I lost her. Keely? I froze. There was no way I just heard that. Was grief finally driving me to madness? Suddenly, I felt her presence behind me as I was pulled into a hug. What's the matter? She asked. Why are you sitting here in the dark? Vera? Turned around to look at her, and sure enough, there she was. Or maybe I was actually going crazy? I stared at her for a good while, afraid that if I questioned her being here, she would go away. Finally, I asked, Is it really you? Of course it is, silly, she chuckled. Who else would I be? I wrapped my arms around her and buried my face into her chest. I thought you had died. Oh, so that's what happened. Fascinating, she said as if it wasn't a big deal. Well, it turns out I can't die. Looked up to her in disbelief. How do you know that's what happened? I mean, after being torn apart the way I was, there was no way of coming back without respawning. She nodded towards the digital clock at my bedside table. And judging by the time, there's been a gap of at least 18 hours between that and when I woke up. So, go figure, I'm immortal. I took a deep breath. Okay, hold on, sorry. This song. Stop acting, so, sorry, I got distracted. So, she's fundamentally attached to Huey. That means she can't die unless Huey dies. She is fundamentally tethered to him. I believe. That is my theory. It is something I was wondering about too, myself. Personally, I was wondering if a MalO was so fundamentally attached to a human and a human host, would it be able to be killed? You'll see. Oh, we'll see. Maybe it's not a human host. Maybe it's the cell phone? Maybe. Stop acting as if everything's fine, I shouted at her. I thought I lost you. Glanced at the knife holder on the kitchen counter. I was going to kill myself because I couldn't bear to go on without you. Oh, Huey, Vera cooed as she cut my cheeks. You could never get rid of me. You're mine forever, and I'm yours. There it was again, the possessive language. I took a deep breath. We need to talk. I thought that's what we were doing, silly buns, she replied jokingly. I mean, about everything that happened before you died, I clarified. Oh, that, she replied as if falling out hadn't impacted her at all. It's important, stressed. Okie dokie, well then, let's talk. She teleported to the far end of the sofa where she sat casually crossing her legs. I sat down on the other end and took a deep breath to steel myself. First of all, I apologize for the way I treated you and for pushing you away, I began. It's okay, Huey, I forgive you, she replied, her eyelids raised in a smile. And? I asked expectantly. She tilted her head to one side and asked, And what? Aren't you going to apologize? Why would I do that? I stared at her, completely slack-jawed. I tried to remind myself that what I had learned from reading up on her kind, the fact that most of them were completely and utterly incapable of experiencing regret or remorse. Even so, seeing her act like this hurt. Seeming to pick it up on how I was feeling, she said, Don't get me wrong, it was never my intention to hurt you, but all I did that night was to tell you I told you the truth. She tapped her fingers on the back of the sofa. Like, I could tell you I'm sorry, but I respect you too much to lie to you. But you think it's fine to manipulate me? I asked. Just don't see it that big a deal, she replied. I mean, Isn't communication in itself manipulative? After all, through words and signs, I put thoughts and emotions in your head. That's not the same. Why not? Can you explain the difference? She asked. Manipulation is specifically about gaining or a desired outcome, I explained. In a healthy relationship, honesty is important, and that sometimes requires you to disclose painful truths. Yes, but in doing so, you still get a desired outcome long term, she argued. So it's still manipulative. Perhaps, but sometimes it can lead to the end of a relationship, I noted. Do you want to end our relationship? I felt as if she had just stabbed me in the heart. What? I gotta stop doing that. What? No, of course not. Then my honesty got me what I wanted, she pointed out. So you really just are a psychopath. Of course not, silly. Psychopaths are characterized by their lack of empathy and inhibition, she replied. I, on the other hand, am what the Foundation refers to as an immoral parasitic empath. They actually diagnosed you with that? Yepers! Pretty early on, actually, she replied. Why didn't you tell me about it? Well, you already had so much else on your mind, and it's not the kind of thing you just bring up out of nowhere, Vera replied. Besides, they put it on my file, so I just kind of assumed that you knew. I never read it. She tilted her head to one side. Why not? I said with a sigh. Because I didn't want to see the Foundation dehumanize you the way they all do with their anomalies. I mean, their files are a bit clinical for sure, but they're nevertheless a fun read. I think I saw what you did there, she said with a great enthusiasm. Like, yours was super informative. Wait, you read my file? True, she got a point. True. She did. Yes, you did. I can sometimes catch on once in a while. I thought access to the files of regular personnel were supposed to be restricted. Oh, like that I'd let that stop me, Vera laughed. Couldn't help but huff a laugh at that. She had always been so determined when it came to learning and figuring things out. So, what did it say? I asked. Oh, a bunch of stuff. Most noticeably, it said that you are to be kept away from other sapient anomalies as there is a significant risk of you being emotionally compromised, she revealed. I'm paraphrasing, though, of course. I shook my head. Only the Foundation could frame compassion as undesirable quality. Sounds about right, I replied bitterly. I then regarded Vera for a moment and asked, so what does you being a parasite empath mean? Well, it means that I'm highly empathetic, but only attuned to a specific range of emotions and mental states, in addition to being indifferent to what you call morality and manipulative with a particular focus on self-gratification, she explained. I can't believe we lived together for 12 years and I never noticed. Well, neither did I, silly, she replied with a chuckle. It's always just been me, and I've never seen anything wrong with that. It wasn't until I got that diagnosis that I realized just how different I was compared to everyone else. I mean, aside from the obvious. I let out another sigh. So, if we resume our relationship, we're just going to go back to manipulating me? Again, I'd argue that all interactions are manipulative. So if we're going to interact, then yes, she replied. It doesn't mean I'm going to lie to you. Well, aside with withholding classified information, that is. I've always been honest with you. You know that. That was certainly true, but even so, the thing I'm worried about is, how do I know you actually care about me? Of course I care about you, silly. No, I mean as something more than just your primary source of human interaction, I clarified. I mean, I was about to kill myself out of grief when I thought I lost you. Would you grieve me if I died? No, I wouldn't, she replied. It wouldn't hurt. Goblin cat. No! That is not your sit area. No. You forget I have good vision. I see you out of the corner of my eyes. It wouldn't hurt me whatsoever if you died. I wouldn't even feel sad about it. Not because I don't love you, but because I'm not able to feel that way. Honestly, I don't even know know what it's like. Felt as if Vera had just ripped out my heart, thrown it on the ground, and stomped on it. I turned away from her, burying my face in my hands, and if I could, I would have cried then and there. She reached out to stroke my hair. But I would miss you. I would forever cherish all the memories we've made together. I looked at her. I may not love you the same way you love me. Nah, hold on. It's not. Hold on. I may not love you the same way you love me. I'm simply too selfish and possessive. But I respect you. I feel an immense amount of gratitude towards you, she continued. So many of my kind are pushed away and ignored by their human hosts. But you welcome me with open arms. You spent every waking hour with me. And... box. If I sit, I fit. I'm imagining you, Jack, your hulking form, trying to sit in a 2x2 box now. Legs up, knees up to your neck, hands in front of you. And I'm just imagining you doing that. Box! Also, hello, Ivy. You have boxed me, that's for sure. Welcome on in. Let's see. Where was I? Ah, right. You spent every waking hour with me and you did it gladly. You taught me how to sign and how to count. And you showed me the immense beauty of this universe and how to understand it. You helped me get into Harvard and make friends online. And I got to become a real scientist because of you. And then you gave up everything you knew to come work with me here in the Foundation. She took my hand. You went above and beyond for me. And I want you to know I'm willing to return the favor. If you don't want to be with me anymore, if you truly don't, then I'll leave you be. Even if that would deprive me of my favorite human, she continued. But if you want to stay together, then I'll do whatever I have to in order to make this relationship work. And when you one day get old and infirm, I'll take care of you. I'll even stop working so I can be with you and assist you with whatever you need. And if you don't want to die, I'll find a way to keep you around for as long as you want. I huffed a laugh at the last part. Yeah, you'd really do that? I would for you, Vera nodded. Considered her words carefully. She would be manipulative, but truthful. Possessive, yet love me in her own way. She was willing to make compromises in order for her relationship to work. And she would be there for me until the end of my days. For a being such as her, what more could I possibly ask for? Okay, I finally said. Let's see if we can't make this work. Really? She perked up. Really? Vera giggled and teleported beside me. I love you, Huey, she whispered as she nuzzled my cheek. Love you too, Vera. Muscular loaf. The muscular loaf. And so this is apparently chapter 4, which is the official item number rank. Containment class Keter. Makes sense. Makes absolute sense that you would be a Keter class. I am too. Flor Galana. Secondary class. Now, I'm not familiar enough with secondary classes and stuff. This class, level 3, warning. Disruption class, kinetic. I haven't like brushed up on the new restrictions and whatnot. Whoa. Weird. Oh, right. Hold on. I shall look at that render a little bit more. Let me take a look here. Okay, he's sitting on the couch. Interestingly. Coffee maker in the background, fridge. There's a painting on the wall. I'm not quite sure what painting that is, but it looks like biblical type. This is true. The way she does look adorable. Trust me. I noticed the way she's holding him is odd. With the hand up like this. Kind of holding him from one way and pulling him in from another. It's an interesting way to hold him instead of holding him around his waist. He's more of doing it in a way of like, not a romantic partner, but more of a pulling somebody close that you care about. Whereas she's doing a style of holding that a human would hold a dog. Like a pet, exactly. Exactly what I was thinking. Because that happens a lot. When you have an animal like that, especially dogs. A lot of dogs are held that way. So is she like a MalO that doesn't need a secondary medium to view? Exactly. I don't think they do, Jack. If I would have to peg, Huey's asexual.
Seek fluid intake.
I can tell. The way that he gets disgusted with human contact, 100%. It's kind of like almost a romantic relationship, but it's definitely, I think, Arrow Ace. Yeah, I was right. Just as I thought Arrow Ace and said Arrow Ace, I see Dr. Lovelace sent the message. Yeah, they're both Arrow Ace. I thought so. Yeah, they're in yeah, I could definitely tell it was affectionate to the point of romantic, but non-sexual in nature. These are basically two people who just love the contact of each other. Well, people. Subjective there on that one. They are just two creatures that care about each other with all of their entire being, pretty much, to the point that you could almost say they're romantic, that they basically are romantic, just cut out the whole sexual part. Exactly, and that definitely shows. It definitely shows for the fact that it shows that Vera is the one in control and has been for a long time. At first, I kind of knew Vera was the one in control almost the entire time. Once she started learning more about the world, she is very smart. When she first, it was hinted at with the chess games. When Vera was younger and still learning, he was the dominant force in the relationship. But once Vera learned as much as she could from Huey, once he was basically used up in the for a source of knowledge, which is exactly why she wanted to go further, he started losing the games. Did you notice that? He started losing games in their chess games. Like, she won 2-1 against him. Meaning that it was a symbolic thing. It was a symbolic idea of, yeah, she's now the dominant one in the relationship. Essentially, they're in a romantic, non-sexual, scientific relationship. It's more like they're platonic life partners who like the hug and cuddle. Exactly. It is very much platonic. It's much like you would with an animal, with a pet. You love your animal as much as they love you. If you have a dog, if you have some kind of like animal of that nature, especially a canine of nature, they're going to love you. You're going to love them. But again, it's very different. She's been showed to be highly manipulative. So was her death truly an accident? That is also, I had a thought about that. I was wondering if her death was another manipulation. I was wondering about that. Omni-Man! Where is Omni-Man? No. I had thought about that. I was thinking about that earlier, but I didn't voice my opinion because I sometimes have a bad track record of thinking those thoughts and then not voicing them. All right, well, before I continue, let me give my opinion. My opinion. I know I gotta read the next thing, but I've read a lot of SCPs. I have read like thousands. I haven't read all of them, but I have read many. I probably read at least up to 1,500 to near 2,000 of the SCPs. I want to say that this is a very well-written story for multiple reasons. Due to the fact that there are several reasons. There are many reasons, and I'm gonna get into them. The first thing I want to note is from the beginning, when we were first getting to the story bit, it kind of played out a little basic. Like the whole the ad break started. Hold on. Give it a few seconds. We can be bees. Here's a thought, MalO. Dr. Lovelace beside a partner. What else is hay to her? Oh yeah, no. Nothing against you, Lovelace. I'm gonna be honest. For a first time entry, this is phenomenal, especially with a lot of people who put in first time entries and most of them not even getting greenlit because they're just that bad. This one was good, and I can see why this one got greenlit after reading all this. So, as I was saying, now that the thing is over, now that the ad is over, the beginning is a little bit slow, which is understandable because we are building up to the whole MalO incident with the app and everything. There's a lot of build up, which is good. It's good that you had a lot of build up because it means that we got to see a lot of the characters together interacting and and whatnot. I will have to say that some of the interactions were a little basic, and I get that because you were told to do that. So the community told you to, hey, make the interactions more brief. Don't give a ton of detail in there back and forth, which I claim to be incorrect when it comes to something like this, which is more of a story of somebody telling what is going through their minds. It's less about it's less about this, which is the actual file, which normally people are going to be reading. This is going to be the scientific facts when it comes to just the actual file. So people are going to be like, yeah, make it scientific, make it like bam, bam, bam. No, don't make the wordings too derivative. Don't let it go too far. And that's understandable. But I feel like that if you give a little bit more flair to the interactions between the characters, it gives more personality to what they're saying. That out of the way. That is my biggest grievance. And like I said, that's like a nitpick. That's not a big grievance of mine. That's not like, oh my god, that destroys the whole story. That is just me being constructive criticisms. You have no idea how hard the green lighting process was. 5% of green lighters refused to give it a look the moment they saw it was 1471. Damn. And I'll say that's another problem. It's not because it's 1747 or 41. I don't know why I said that. It's not because it's 1471. It's the stipulation. It's because of the community. It's because the internet. The internet has ruined us, unfortunately. And so everybody immediately just thinks, MalO, sex, great, moving on now. When MalOs are far more in-depth, and what I must say is that you added so much more depth than most anybody who's ever written a MalO character. Like, you have gone so far into depth with this styling that I absolutely loved it. It took a while to get to the twist, but by the time we got to the twist, it was worth it. Because the signs were there, but they were so subtle and hard to follow that I didn't see it coming. Aw, you're welcome, Lovelace. I really do believe your story definitely deserves a lot more praise. Because, much like all the other creatures in the SCP Foundation, they're alien to human thought. Most of them are, at least. So most of them are going to not be able to think the same way as a human. They're like I said, we are creatures from the beyond. We are entities beyond human comprehension. Some entities are so crazy that they literally warp the minds of people that look upon them, much like Cthulhu. So, of course, those thoughts are going to be alien. It's like you, a human, trying to figure out how an ant thinks. Or the ant trying to think how a human thinks. It's impossible. So, you turning around the story on its head and revealing that this MalO, Vera, is her own like idea of mindset, that she's not even, she's has sociopathic tendencies, but not completely, because she has a different mindset than anybody really in history. That's interesting. That gives a lot of flair to an otherwise character that would have been more than likely in any other place just sexualized because she was female. And like I said, the horror element of never truly knowing the people around you, even after years of being with them, is a great horror to go off of. That is fundamentally a horror that, it's a subtle horror that people don't really think about unless you're thinking about Shakespearean style sort of things, like ye olden stories. But those are usually dumbed down and watered down because of age. We need more female psychopathic rep. Listen, I think Japan's got that in spades with the funny tsunderes. See, you could almost classify Vera as a tsundere, almost, but not quite. That's why I never said it, because she doesn't meet the protocols. She is similar to that nature, that she only cares about most of the people that are right directly in front of her, mostly the one person that she's imprinted on, that being Huey. She's willing to sacrifice a lot for Huey, but again, she also doesn't quite understand normal human logic, normal human emotion, I should say, not logic, and normal human emotion. So she doesn't quite understand why he would feel this way. Why does he feel like, oh, if Vera leaves me because or if I die, if Vera doesn't care, what, like, you know what I mean? Vera doesn't get that. Vera doesn't understand why losing your partner would make you feel regret and sadness, because she doesn't feel it. She doesn't actually have that emotion. Yandere. Yeah, sorry, yandere, whatever. But Vera is like if you combine Pinkie Pie with Todd from Breaking Bad. I've never watched Breaking Bad, I'll be honest. And I don't know if I ever will. As much as I want, I don't know. I don't know. Something about that show just, I don't know, puts me off. It's not bad. I'm not saying it's a bad show, but just something about it. However, since basically they decided to almost copy paste Todd from Breaking Bad into another show that I watched, which was BoJack Horseman, I kind of see it. Todd's a little more emotionally open and caring in BoJack Horseman. But basically, it's the same voice actor with the same name. He's also Arrow Ace in the BoJack Horseman. Kind of similar, but he doesn't have the sociopathic tendencies as Todd does in Breaking Bad. So there's slight differences between the two characters. Yeah, no, you did not know that? Yeah, the voice of Todd in BoJack Horseman is the same voice actor as Todd from the show, and that was an inside joke too. That it's literally a thing. And another thing that I love about this story, we never really know how manipulative she really is. And I like that. I really do. You never really understand just how much she actually cares about Huey, because she is manipulative. Like, a lot of stories who write manipulative characters, they tend to do it to the point that it's absurdity. This gets more of a grounded basis on the idea of manipulation. That most of the time in media, when you have a manipulative character, they have a heart of ice. They're a character that just doesn't give a damn about the person that's in front of them or anything that they're about. They just want to get their way. However, with Vera is different in the aspect that she is very manipulative, but she's also able to care about the person that she sees in front of her. As far as we can tell, she seems to actually genuinely care about Huey in some aspect. So the problem here lies in how much does Vera truly care about Huey, and where does the line begin? The line and whatnot is so blurry, you can't tell. That adds so much more to the character and story, because now you're sitting there. That's how you make a good story. You add mystery. This is the mystery. This is whenever I talk about stories and I talk about characters and stuff like that, I've always said you need to let there be mystery. You cannot over-explain everything, because if you try to explain everything, it ruins the mystique of a story. It ruins this concept that people can attach themselves to the story and to the characters. When you have this idea of leaving some space for the narrative of the story reader to put in their own thoughts and ideas, it makes a lot more of a lasting impression. It makes people go, huh, all right, let me think. Let me think. Was that character doing this for that? What was the concern behind this idea? Who was Vera really? Was she really what she said she is? Is she telling the truth? Or is she been lying the entire time and she really is just that manipulative? We will never know, I think. It's one of those things you should probably never reveal. Never play your hand. Always let people guess. It has always been one of my fundamental things when it comes to writing. When I ever tell anybody that, it is so important. Good. It's so important to keep those things a mystery. Yeah, exactly. Leaving people guessing is so important. Just giving there's people who don't do the exact opposite, where they don't give enough information and you stop caring. Because if you don't give something to hold on to, then why is somebody going to care about the story? Here, Vera, you did, or Lovelace, Dr. Lovelace, you did a fantastic job giving Lovelace a lot of characteristics and a lot about her in a way that makes you want to know more about the character and more about what's going on in this situation and to understand her, but you can't. because there's not enough to go by. A yandere is a girl or woman who says, I'll do everything for my senpai, everything. Yeah, exactly. I meant to say yandere. Tsundere and yandere are so close together in words that I tend to mix those two up all the time. So I'm glad that whoever... Sorry, I was gathering my thoughts. So I'm glad whoever decided to look at your story, the people who actually sat down and said, okay, I'm going to read this. I'm going to give it the time of day. And they decided they were like, oh, wait a minute. Ice cream. Ice cream is yummy. I already had some ice cream all earlier today, though. Anyways, digressed. I'm glad that the people who decided to greenlight you did so. I'm glad that they gave your story a chance because it deserved it. Yay, free ice cream. Yum, 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 yum. I love free ice cream. Ooh, very nice. They liked it so much that they made fan art of Vera. That's cute. I like that. The story's not quite over yet, though. The ride's not quite over. Let us read item 1471-A-58317, also known as Dr. Lovelace. I'm sorry, I already ate ice cream. I've had enough sugar, I think, for today. Per the directive of the O5 Council, SCP-1471-A, I'm not reading that number every single time, is to be employed as the researcher and provided with an on-site housing for itself and its host. As per the same directive, SCP-1471-A is from this point on to be referred to as Dr. Lovelace, Vera Lovelace, or by her preferred pronouns. Dr. Lovelace's job satisfaction is to be kept high at all times, and special exceptions and accommodations are to be made to order to ensure this. She is permitted to be reassigned in any faculty or department as per the usual employment requirements. Barring any temporary excursions, she and her host are to be employed at the same facility at all times. Dr. Lovelace is only permitted to travel outside of Foundation territory when accompanied by at least one member of staff, Class C or above. In the event that Dr. Lovelace needs to be temporarily incapacitated or contained, one obelisk device, a highly specialized Scranton reality anchor, can be deployed to force her projection into a materialized state and prevent her from teleporting. While in this state, Dr. Lovelace's projection can be held in a standard humanoid containment cell surrounded by obelisk device. I also want to note that Dr. Lovelace, I'm not sure how the obelisk device is going to work. She'd have to trick them or they'd have to trick her into getting around using that. Not sure. I guess that's why it's kind of an emergency thing. Oh, Flora Galana, anomaly that contains itself or helps contain other anomalies. Ah, I understand. I'm surprised she's not considered Therium, or however you pronounce that word, but Therium. But I can also understand why she's not, because she is kind of a hazard. Note that if Dr. Lovelace's projection remains as a materialized state for longer than 92 minutes, it will begin to disintegrate. If kept in a materialized state past this point, it will fully disintegrate after roughly 184 minutes. I'm guessing that they tested this. As other reality anchors disrupt the effects of obelisk devices, it may cause Dr. Lovelace's projection to demanifest. These are to be kept significantly far away so as to not cause a containment breach. I am a mimetic hazard. Yes, you are, Carmi. Yes, you are. Containment procedure update. 210416. Members of staff who find Dr. Lovelace in their private quarters without permission are to notify her to leave and file a complaint to Human Resources unless permission has been granted to her retroactively. So she just went and met somebody. Probably went to one of the researchers excitedly to talk to them. I could see her doing that. Members of staff who 2021-05-805. So that was a couple months later. Tsundere is somebody who fawns over somebody but doesn't show it. It's also begins with a T, so with the silent T. They don't want to show their emotions that they are happy or anything like that. He is the kind who wakes people up in the middle of the night and talk science. Exactly. That's probably exactly what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking. Hard to detect. How do you have a hard time detecting a Tor? Like a silent P in pterodactyl. Okay, it's members of the staff who interact with Dr. Lovelace after hours for a period of time equal to or exceeding 30 minutes are eligible to receive overtime pay. Provided that they themselves do not initiate the interaction. Bro, she has become such a problem of talking to the staff that they basically consider working with her like this as overtime and give extra pay to their workers. Okay, that's goddamn funny. Tsunade? That is a Naruto character. I didn't know how you shouldn't see me come in the other day and I took a whole shower. Listen, I was paying attention to chat. Chat had my apt attention. A few months later, 11:30, so on November the 30th, should Dr. Lovelace's projection be destroyed, she will go unconscious for roughly 18 hours, after which she is able to re-manifest her projection at any location that she has previously visited. So this is the moment they realized, oh hey, she can't die. On Christmas, Dr. Lovelace is permitted to give Christmas gifts to Class D personnel and contained objects, provided that said gifts have been cleared by security beforehand. Aw, so she gave a bunch of gifts to her friends. She does care. That's the thing I'm talking about. No, you're okay, Roman. I couldn't help but laugh at that. It's okay. You had it right the first time. You just add a T to it instead of Tsunade. It's like Tsunade, except for it's Tsundere. Friends. What she considers friends. That is. So it shows that she cares. She does. She does care. But again, it's alien, the way she cares about them, in a way. Because, like you said, she kind of considers them all her pets, in a way. She likes to make people happy, but she's also fine with sacrificing most of them for science. See, that's the thing. Then that is the fundamental difference between me and her, is that I don't want to do that. I like making people happy, sure. But I'm not just going to sacrifice people in order to further science. I kind of try to, when I see things, I kind of just go like, you know, I try to take the neutral ground. Try to kind of look at things both sides of the coin. because I've made too many mistakes in the past and I've hurt too many people in the past. And I tried to learn from these mistakes. Hold on, I'm gonna replay this. Why not? Dr. Lovelace. Okay, this is about 2 months later in February. Dr. Lovelace is also permitted to give gifts to Class D personnel and contained objects on birthdays. So she remembered people's birthdays and went and gave them a gift. Interesting. Okay, 2 months later. Dr. Lovelace may no longer give animals, plants, or any substances that could be described as alive or animate as gifts to Class D personnel or contain. Wait. Okay, hold up. That has some implications to it. Did she give one of the D class a puppy? I could see her giving a D class a puppy. Maybe. I could see her doing that. I really could. I could see her teleporting out, grabbing a puppy from like nearby, like in a town nearby the site, taking it back and giving it to the Class D personnel as a gift. She strikes me as a puppy person. She could have given 049 a puppy. Oh no. Oh dear. Oh, I hope that I hope 049 did not see the pestilence in the puppy. He's never done that to animals. Wait a minute. I've never read any files about 049 doing anything with animals before. Just people. Curious. I'll have to research that. Okay. Oh, does he do it to animals too? I never read that about him. In his original file, it was a long time ago I read it. I don't remember reading that. And then any and all complaint reports, requests, or incidents involving Dr. Lovelace are to be directed to Task Force G1471, a interdepartmental task force dedicated to handling the immense paperwork generated by Dr. Lovelace. Bro, Dr. Lovelace out here making life harder for the Foundation, so much so that they had to make an entire task force dedicated to just paperwork. Paperwork. Not handling her to do things. Paperwork. Let's see. Now that's funny. I love that they had to do that a month later. Description. Dr. Vera Lovelace is the only known example of a Stage 7 instance of the SCP-1471-A, a species of extra-dimensional entities existing outside baseline reality and capable of projecting themselves into it, with the projection serving as their only means of feeding and taking in sensory information. As these projections are effectively holograms, they are devoid of organs and vitals, and as such can remain almost fully functional regardless of any damage sustained unless they are completely destroyed. Similar to other known instances of SCP-1471-A, Dr. Lovelace's projection takes the appearance of a female humanoid with a candid-like skull, black hair, black fur, and a large stature, measuring to 2.16 meters in height. Makes sense. Most of a we don't see that makes sense because a lot of the first humanoid one we see is in a cloak, so we can't really tell if they're female in form or not. Hi, Voodle. And similar to other more developed instances of SCP-1471-A, Dr. Lovelace is capable to integrate clothing, tools, and simple electronics into her projection, provided that all elements remain as one cohesive whole. Any part of her projection that is separated from the main portion instantly dissipates. As a Stage 7 instance, Dr. Lovelace is capable of manifesting her projection in one of three states. A semi-manifested state, during which is imperceivable to any observer other than Dr. Huey Bertram. Schizophrenics, individuals under the influence of hallucinogenic drugs, and individuals with overactive imaginations, particularly children, and certain specialized equipment. People and animals are also able to sense its presence to varying degrees in close proximity. Additionally, it is fully intangible while in this state and immune to the effects of anomalies, capable of adapting onto ontokinesis. I think I've heard of that word before. Ontokinesis, or reality bending, is the ability to manipulate, change, or create reality, matter, and physics and law at will. That's right. That's right. I was like, I remember that terminology. Yeah, reality bending. I just couldn't put my finger to it. A manifested state which during is fully visible and audible to any observer, but remains intangible and immune to the effects of anomalies, capable of adaptable to ontokinesis. A materialized state, during which it's fully tangible and susceptible to most anomalies. Her projection is only able to remain in this state for up to 92 minutes at a time. Dr. Lovelace is a highly adept teleporter and is capable of teleporting her projection and anyone within close proximity to it, as well as individually teleporting any invisible creature or object that's within 85 meters of her projection while it remains in place. Additionally, she is able to teleport creatures and objects into a pressurized room temperature pocket dimension consisting of an endless void that has no gravity or atmosphere, yet has barometric pressure of 1013.25 ember. Certain ontokinetic anomalies and technologies, such as the Scranton Reality Anchor, are capable of altering Dr. Lovelace's projection in various different ways. Typically, they disrupt her projection, forcing it into a semi-manifested state, or causing her to demanifest entirely. In this case of the latter, Dr. Lovelace is able to remanifest her projection in any location that she's previously visited. However, more specialized ontokinetic technologies or highly adept reality benders are able to force her projection into a manifested or materialized state. And in this case of the former, her Hume level is such as that she retains her ability to teleport. In addition to being immune to non-adaptive ontokinetic anomalies, as it is not possible to physically contain Dr. Lovelace permanently, she is currently being contained socially via her employment as a researcher. No other means of containment are to be pursued. Similar to other known as instances of SCP-1471-A, Dr. Lovelace feeds off of human interaction. However, due to being a highly intelligent and amoral parasitic empath, in the field of anomalous psychology, parasitic empathy is a personality trait characterized by a strong sense of empathy within a limited range of emotions and mental states, which in turn motivates behavior that is indifferent to morality and manipulative with a particular focus on self-gratification. Attuned to positive emotions, she exhibits an obsessive compulsion to form and maintain friendships with everyone and will utilize manipulative tactics in the pursuit of that goal, without regard for morals, ethics, or the well-being of those she targets. With this obsession, coupled with her photographic memory, allows Dr. Lovelace to maintain highly detailed profiles inside her head of everyone she's ever interacted with, seen, or overheard, or even heard of. This in turn allows her to extrapolate, I know that word, I feel like I'm pronouncing it incorrectly. Extrapolate. Oh, God damn it. Nah, I'm not gonna look it up. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna let my OCD do that to me. Personal information that is often deemed to be sensitive or even classified. While Dr. Lovelace can consume food and drink through her projection, she does not appear to make use of anything other than calories from what it is consumed, which is converted into unknown type of energy that helps power her abilities. Because of the daily and extensive use of her abilities, she frequently consumes calorie-rich snacks and beverages while working. Having earned 2 doctorates, one in physics and one in material science and mechanical engineering, as well as published 287 papers prior to her recruitment, Dr. Lovelace is one of the more scientifically qualified researchers in the Foundation. Additionally, she is fluent in English, American Sign Language, Romanian, Mandarin, Hindi, Spanish, French, and Arabic. Dr. Lovelace's host, Dr. Huey Bertram, a 42-year-old human male who is presently serving as a researcher at Site 19 prior to his employment to the Foundation, Dr. Bertram worked as a professor of Harvard University. Now, it was during his tenure that he was infected with SCP-1471. Because of his close bond with Dr. Lovelace, he has been granted Class B credentials. Between this and his specialization in theoretical physics, he is currently restricted to theoretical research only. Dr. Bertram suffers from a particularly severe case of reduced affect display that makes him unable to express emotions non-verbally. However, he still regularly experiences the full range of human emotions, despite the appearance to the contrary. Both Dr. Lovelace and Dr. Bertram are highly adept at multitasking, allowing them to perform up to 3 separate high-level mental tasks at the same time without any noticeable reduction to their performance. This allows them, for instance, hold both a verbal conversation and a separate text conversational simultaneously, or to use each hand to write 2 separate letters at the same time. However, in the case of Dr. Lovelace, she grows increasingly restless if she performs less than 2 simultaneously high-level mental tasks at the same time. Appendum 2021-1130. While other unknown instances of SCP-1471-A are unable to survive the destruction of their projections, Dr. Lovelace has proven to be the exception due to her being significantly more developed than the other known instances. Just how much have you been not writing down, Foundation? I don't like how you know about the destruction of their projections. And you knowing that would be... How do you know that information without having destroyed several projections in the past? That's what I'm trying to get at. They outed themselves on that one. Warning, the following files are level, that number, level 5. Yeah, level 5, 1471-A classified. Any attempt to access further without level 5 authorization will be logged and will lead to immediate disciplinary action. Aha. Oh, the 05. Minutes from 05 council meeting. Recorded 2021-1130. Begin the excerpt. The 05, and this was what you were talking about with the 05. It appears that Dr. Lovelace has returned from the dead. 6 says, wait, what? What kind of state is she in? Oh, she's perfectly fine. In fact, she was remarkably unbothered by her own death. Of course it was. Fascinating. This seems to lend further support to Dr. Seeger's life thread hypothesis. Agreed. And frankly, we couldn't have hoped for a better outcome. How the hell do you figure that? Because we hit the fucking jackpot with her. She's a highly qualified scientist that can become incorporeal and is immune to the most anomalies, can turn invisible, and is highly adept teleporter. Is immortal, and on top of that, is highly motivated to work for us. Yes, but if Dr. Seeger's hypothesis is correct, there's no telling what'll happen if this thing keeps sinking more and more its tendrils into our reality. I share your concern. 6, but there's nothing we can do about the moment other than studying her while letting her keep working for us. However, I would like to point out that her kind are symbiotes, and there's no evidence to suggest that they harm their hosts. Yes, there is. They literally kill their phones upon transitioning to stage 2. Yes, exactly. For all we know, they could do the same to the universe if they develop far enough. The phones break because they're too simple to hold them. Compare that to their human hosts. They suffer no immeasurable deterioration from the infection whatsoever, and baseline reality is far more complex than a human being. That's now guaranteed. They didn't say it was. I said it was a strong indicator. Then what do you suggest we do? As I said, 2, if I may. Sure, go ahead. Look, everyone, we're dealing with an immortal being who's incapable of growing bored or weary of life, whose focus never wavers, whose mind is not limited by the constraints of matter, and whose interests align with ours. As such, I suggest that we hedge our bets and work to instill loyalty in her. We can continue to study her and work on potential countermeasures in the event that she becomes a threat to us. But instilling loyalty should be our primary concern. All right, fine. Let's take this host hostage to ensure it's compliant. No, you idiot. Why the hell not? It's a rudimentary game theory, 6. Exactly. We can't make a credible threat to harm him because if she steps out of line and we kill him, we lose that leverage and we have over her. If we don't go through and if we don't go through and kill him, she will no longer take our threats seriously. Not only that, but the very fact of taking Dr. Bertram hostage is not a net loss for us because doing so will turn a loyal asset into a disloyal one without the benefit of improving her compliance. That's why it's a stupid fucking move. Then how do you suggest we control her? It's not about control or leverage or compliance. These are methods that only work in the short term. Decades. At most. I'm talking about instilling loyalty. True loyalty. If we can do that, then she will serve us for centuries, millennia, eons. So we treat her less like a game piece and more like an investment? Exactly. Investment that, if we play our cards right, will more than make up for our short-term losses and continue to pay dividends. But this investment should also extend to the host. What? Why? Because right now, he's a ticking time bomb. He has no friends, he hates working with us, and he doesn't believe in our mission. If we don't change that, he's eventually going to do something stupid that we'll have to deal with, and that could make Lovelace question her loyalties. I see where you're going with this. We need to help him find meaning and fulfillment in his work. And make friends. What? Are you suggesting we set up playdates? If necessary, yes. Make no mistake, this is very much a means to an end. But if we succeed in fully integrating him and can provide him with a genuine sense of fulfillment, we will go a long way towards securing her loyalty to us. And if we can manage that, and she never becomes a threat to us, we will not only have an incredible asset that will continue to grow in value, but we will have an insurance policy that will ensure she continued the continued existence and operation of the Foundation until the heat death of the universe, if not beyond. Of course, there is manipulation on both sides. Not surprising. It's the O5 Council, after all. The very manipulative set of individuals who think they know best for the universe and mankind. That being said, that's why I love the morality of the SCP Foundation. Nobody's ever really truly the good guy or the bad guy or in any of these situations, because everybody's just trying their best to do what they can. Word count 2. Story contains suicidal ideations and death. Is that for the full story, including foundational parasite? There is in good company. yeah. Both of the these are you all. I just realized. There's like 12 O5 council members, right? I think that's the amount, right? It's 13. It's 13. Okay, I wasn't sure if it was 12 or 13. Besides that point, I believe I may have made a connection between the O5 council as well as the Skaven. Find it funny now that I think about it. The O5 Council are always plotting, always trying to pull basically everything, manipulate everyone into doing what they want. They're just a smarter version of the Skaven. Especially since when you think about it, the Skaven have their own council of 12. I think it was the Council of 12. The smartest rats of the rat kind. They're like the leaders of each one of their little factions, and there's 12 factions in all. So it seems that the SCP Foundation and the Skaven really have a lot in common. With that, so this is... She got her own SCP. I'm going to contain grab you. I'm going to contain grab you. I can see the similarities. Exactly. It's not... The SC... There are similarities. Of course, the Skaven are far more chaotic and far more stupid when it comes to thinking in the long term and thinking more about their short-term pleasures. But they do... The SCP Foundation is always thinking about their own needs and wants and whatnot instead of keeping anything, more humane. Always manipulating from the shadows, always trying to one-up on each other, trying to basically do what they think is best, just like the Skaven. The Skaven think they knew what's best, even though they don't think too far beyond themselves. Very interesting. Always playing mind games with each other. And similar to that, Vera's just like one of them. I could almost see Vera becoming an O5 Council member if she cared to be one. I don't think she cares enough to be one because she was more concerned about the scientific facts of the anomalies and stuff like that, of reality, than she cares more about leading people. It's only in the far future she became 94171 years later. So, did we ever fully read this? No, I don't think we ever did. Because I asked you to start us off from the very beginning, which was the parasite one, the parasite host one. On that note, how long have I been streaming for? About 3 hours? I might... Okay. So... Okay. Well... I'm gonna have to say this. If I'm gonna do the video, read the story out loud, the first part and everything, I think we're gonna have to do this in parts. I'm not 100% certain how many parts, but it's probably going to have to be at least 2, due to the fact that you have your own SCP now. This would have to be its own thing. Okay, Jack. This would have to be its own, read, and then this story would have to be its own read. Yeah, exactly. These would, because otherwise, doing these reads are going to be, hours long. I'm not sure if I would have to do it chapter by chapter when it came to the other one. I might be able to do it all in one shot if I'm fast enough with the reading. I might be able to do it in 3 hours. Oh, I will definitely read everything. Ho ho, are you kidding? I don't want to go too far because I don't want to... interesting. I don't want to go too far because I want to kind of look into this maybe on another day because it is getting late. And I know you're probably going to need to go to bed, Lovelace. So I can do I'm guessing this is the next part to Lovelace's story. I'm guessing. Because we did the basis of how Lovelace became a part of the Foundation. The introspection of what she truly is mentally and all that jazz. This would be the next part. That's what I thought. Me too, Soul Reap. I really appreciate this story. I love where this is going. You know, I should I should play the Silent Hill remake. There's a lot of things I need to do and I don't have the time for. I beat the Alan Wake game, the original Alan Wake, both Alan Wake games. Oh, what's that? Did you just get banned big time there, bot? Oh boy, yeah, you did.
This sure is a lot more gaudy than I was expecting.
Destroyed. I love watching bots get destroyed. Ooh, a different kind of story. That's what I was wondering. I was wondering if it was a different type of style of story that involved Vera Lovelace, but not completely. It's okay, Soul Reap. Ooh, there's another story between the target audience and 9471. I don't mind taking that story. I really don't. I do not mind taking that story and reading it. At least we got the first section done. We got target audience done, which is awesome. I'm glad that we did. Hubbub? Ah, right. See, this is the reason why I didn't immediately go to things, because I wasn't sure what I was looking for. Now that I understand what I'm looking at, that's much easier. The most likely reaction to the truly alien intelligence would be one of confusion, anthropomorphization, or dawning horror. Good. That's good. Yep. That one right there. Humans tend to do this a lot. Anthropomorphization is one of humans' greatest ideas and follies. Humans tend to anthropomorphize things to a fault. It's a good way to fundamentally accept the world, because it allows you to accept things that you normally wouldn't be able to accept. But also at the same time, it is also just pulling the wool over your own eyes. Exactly, it's what Huey did with her. Containment reassessment. Yeah, that's what I was seeing there. The price of eternity. We'll read that one another time. Yeah, because yeah, target audience is that's a biggin. That's a huge one comparatively to these. Ah, the ethics committee. I see. Interesting. But yes, we'll do this since this one's a lot shorter than target audience. I probably can knock this one out in a day, in one stream, easily. Each one, both SCP-9471 and containment reassessment. I think I could do both, not at the same time. Like each one would get its own special stream, and then I would do, of course, reading them out loud, probably for a video. Oh, of course. Very much, Lovelace. I just know it's probably like, what, midnight for you right now? So it's probably getting really late for you. So I figured that it might be a good idea to just pause for now. Yeah, it's even later than I thought. Oh yeah, you're used to being up late, but yeah. I just didn't want to keep you up too much later. I also think... Well, I think I might have to end the stream for right now. Nothing, not that I really want to, but... I think... Personally, I think I need... I personally think I need to do something specifically, because I think if I would have to hazard a guess, I think I messed up. I'm just gonna say that. I think I messed up. And I think I am going to have to rectify that situation. Thank you. I know I'm kind of ending stream a little early because I've only been doing it for 3 hours. Me too. I hope I'm not in too much trouble either. But I wanted to make sure that I get some other things done tonight. I want to stream games and stuff, but I know that I probably need to get some stuff situated first. Plus, I'm also kind of tired. And I don't want to, like, push myself too hard trying to think. Because I'm kind of, like, a little sleepy-headed. I had to help City wake up in the morning. It's one of the things I thought I knew was going to happen when we moved, that it was going to become... There was going to be sporadic times that I wouldn't be able to stream for a long time. You know, like I'd only get 3 or 4 hours per day. But that's okay. All right, let me see here. Is that the motherfucking Mothman? I see a Mothman. Wait a minute. Good night, guys. I'm sorry. Again, I feel bad for ending stream early, but these C'est la vie things happen, you know what I mean? Damn. Okay. Let me grab the name here. Night, everyone. I'm sorry that I gotta, and I know you guys are okay with it, but again, I feel a little guilty. Just a little bit, not a ton, but enough that I'm just like, oh. I bet people were expecting me to go a little longer tonight, but don't worry, I'll try to go a little longer tomorrow. Okay, guys. Hopefully, I can get a little more time tomorrow. I'm gonna go raid the Mothman. Apparently, we're gonna go say hi to him, the Mothman VTuber, VT. First, we're gonna get the raid message. Again, thank you, Dr. Lovelace, for sharing that story with me so that I could share it with everybody else. I had a lot of fun reading it. I had a lot of fun doing the voices, and I had a lot of fun learning about Lovelace as a character. Thought it was very interesting. Loved the idea and concept. It was very good. Once again, GG for that horror style. Again, good job. Yes, thank you so much. I again appreciate it. I am rambling. Anyways, I will probably see you all tomorrow. Take care of yourselves. I am going to probably stream some more games here very soon. Sorry, Jack. Yeah, only 3-hour stream. I noticed that as I was saying, I think I screwed up and I need to fix a situation. MalO meets Lovelace. There you go. Now that's a fun story. How MalO meets Dr. Lovelace. That would be an interesting story. Anyways, take care, everybody. I see you soon. Bye.
You, sir, are highly suspicious.